The Great War originated in the year 1914, and its impact was felt throughout the world. European nations engaged in a fierce style of combat that came to be known as trench warfare. Militaries created trenches that hid the soldiers from rifle fire. This warfare caused stalemate battles throughout the land. Many soldiers died from malnutrition, infection, and poor conditions of their living quarters. The world had never seen this style of war. The warfare's driving force was the invention of the machine gun. This advancement in weaponry altered World War I warfare tactics. The machine gun was the most impactful weapon of World War I. Major Jack R. Norstein wrote an article that focused on the development of the machine gun and its impact on the Great War. Major Norstein, was the Great War the first time that machine gun technology had been utilized?
The Russo-Japanese War of 1904 and '05 demonstrated the impact of the machine gun and revealed two important lessons. First, that the use of the machine gun in the defense resulted in digging of trenches. Second, that machine guns could be used to decimate far larger offensive force, as was demonstrated by the Japanese use of the Hotchkiss gun.
Why did the machine gun result in defensive warfare?
The primary reason the machine gun caused trench warfare was that the weapon was defensive. The German Maxim '08 weighed between 136 and 146 pounds and required at least 6 men to carry it and its ammunition. The French and British machine guns of 1914 were not much better. The French Hotchkiss weighed 103 pounds and the British Vickers Maxim weighed 118 pounds. This meant that the machine gun could only be utilized in a defensive role because it was far too heavy to incorporate it in a highly motive offensive manner.
The machine gun dealt significant damage when strategically located. The Battle of the Somme resulted in nearly 1 million casualties. The British and French were in an offensive attack against the German forces. British soldier Harry Leadham was at the battle. Will you recount your experience?
It seemed all over, hardly 20 minutes from the start. It was a strong point and still was. Even with reinforcements, it would be hopeless, with those sodding machine guns still in action. Behind, we could see where we started from. In front, the Jerry lines on slightly rising ground. We could see the shape of the quadrilateral like a squash diamond behind the bank. Judging by the damn chatter when we were going over, a hidden machine gun at every point. Quiet enough now, they had already done all the damage, not giving their position away now, leaving the Jerrys in the line to do the odd firing.
Each country that participated in World War I utilized different types of machine guns. The French mainly used the Hotchkiss. The weapon weighed 55 pounds and required a 60-pound tripod. The weapon could fire up to 600 rounds per minute. The German Maxim machine gun was similar to its French counterpart. Weighing in at 41 pounds, it needed an 83-pound sled mount. A four-man team was typically used to operate the weapon. Alex Brown, a writer for the website History Hit, is well versed on the important machine guns from World War I. Alex, what weapon did the Americans utilize?
The Lewis machine gun was the weapon of choice. The reliable gun weighed only 25 pounds and fired a respectable 500 rounds per minute. The weapon was mounted on many American aircraft.
What was the Russians' preferred weaponry?
The Russians used the Sokolov. The weapon was 52.4 pounds plus a 38-pound mount. It could also be mounted to wheels to provide an additional level of mobility.
How was the British version of the machine gun during World War I?
The 33-pound weapon included a 40-pound tripod and was named the Vickers. The weapon had a great reputation for solidity and reliability.
German leaders capitalized on machine gun usage early in World War I. The Battle of Tonga, occurring in East Africa, was a British-launched amphibious attack. Colonel Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck defended the port city and captured many British supplies. Among these items were 16 machine guns. Colonel Lettow-Vorbeck, could you talk about the critical Ras Kasson attack during the battle?
It was not now advisable to advance with all of our forces against the enemy, who was re-embarking at Rascasson, as the country there was entirely open and commanded by the cruisers lying in its immediate vicinity. All is the same, the strong patrols and individual companies who advanced towards Rascasson in order to harass the enemy succeeded in surprising him by machine gun fire directed on various detachments, a few boats, and even the decks of the cruisers, lying close to the hospital. During the day, the impression that the enemy had suffered a tremendous defeat grew stronger and stronger.
Could you explain if your machine guns were affected by the claim of trained bees?
Years afterwards, I was asked by English officers whether we had used trained bees at Tonga, but I may now perhaps betray the fact that at the decisive moment, all of the machine guns, one of our companies, were put out of action by these same trained bees, so that we suffered from this new training quite as much as the English.
At Tonga, the British had 847 casualties, plus many captured. The Germans only suffered 67 deaths while gaining crucial machine guns and 600,000 rounds of ammunition. While multiple World War I machine guns existed, every side utilized the weaponry in their tactics. At appropriate times, the weapon could eliminate a trapped enemy. However, its greater impact was seen through trench warfare. The machine gun had the unforeseen impact of attrition-based warfare due to the defensive style. The machine gun impacted World War I more than any other weapon utilized.